So, welcome to the Showcase, the podcast that celebrates trailblazers in the world of arts, showbiz, and entertainment. And this week, you'd be forgiven for calling me corny, because my next guest may recently have turned 40, but to me and many others, she'll always be the nicest kid in town. Yes, that's right. In the hot seat today is an actress who became the first British performer to play the iconic role, you'll hear that word many times, iconic, of Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray, winning an Olivier Award for her portrayal, which saw her appear alongside theatre royalty including Michael Ball, Tracy Bennett and many others. Since then, the beat has never stopped. She has transitioned into TV with roles in dramas Unforgotten and Silent Witness, performed in numerous pantomimes, and even reprised the role of Tracy, the role which I'm sure follows her to this day, over in Dubai. Well, I can hear the bells, which can only mean one thing. It is Leanne Jones.
Yeah, thank you so much for that lovely intro.
Not a problem. I did my research.
Oh, thank you.
We were saying when you arrived, it has been 20 years since you first auditioned for that show and for that role. So it must have followed you around really for 2 decades. Are you still really, really sentimental about the show and everything it brought you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, sentimental. And now I feel I can really celebrate it more without being boastful, I guess. Like at the time, I felt really like, you know, I need to be really chill about this and be mature and, you know, because, and also I was a newcomer. Of course. So it was like finding out how you fit in the world. Yeah. Whereas now I think I can really be like, yeah, I did that. That was me. And like, and celebrate it.
And because it's fairly amazing, really, there aren't many shows that have that kind of an impact where, you know, a role that you did start playing, certainly, 18 years ago, people still ask you about to this day and still talk about. So that really that is testament to the impact that show had. Yeah,
I think so. And that's what people tell me as well. You know, people talk about it still like it was a real moment in musical theatre history and time. So, yeah, it's special.
And I was going to say, you know, with that, I mentioned you won an Olivier Award, the most prestigious accolade pretty much in global theatre, that and a Tony. And that was obviously pretty much 15 years ago. But does that still feel really surreal when you think to yourself, I'm an Olivier Award winner?
Yes, definitely. When I am being at home with my 2 children. Yeah. And I've been teaching a lot recently. Yeah. And it is really lovely. Like every time somebody, you know, reads out my intro or talks about me, I sort of think to myself, oh yeah, like I do have one of those and it is a big deal. And when I watch the Oliviers as well on the TV and I've attended a couple of times as well, it really does feel like, wow, I'm so lucky. Yeah. And
you should just carry it around with you. I mean, we could have put it there on the table while we were doing
Lots of people ask me. Yeah. So like if I'm teaching a workshop or something, they were like, oh, can you just put it in your bag? Can you just bring it?
Just bring it along.
There's lots of photos of like young people and friends actually as well. Yeah. Holding my Olivier.
Well, hopefully it'll be the first of many, who knows?
Oh, well, who knows?
You know. I mean, that show really did kind of propel you into the lineup and there was so much publicity around it. A, because of the all-star cast, but B, you were going into a role that I'm sure was so hotly contested and everyone was talking about it and the movie was around at that time. Were you kind of prepared for the mania that came with it? Because I'm sure at the time there was so much, you know, fandom, but the public appearances you had to do, you know, going to awards, doing TV shows. Yeah. Was that all quite overwhelming?
It was. And what I would say is, I mean, I don't know if you can ask me about the audition process. Maybe this is I'm answering another question, but it started for me a couple of years before when I was at second year at Mount View. Yeah. Because I actually, this is terrible to admit, but I hadn't actually seen the original Hairspray movie. Wow. I just had seen this logo, very colourful, vertical writing of Hairspray and the blue wig image. Yeah. I think I'd seen that on posters of like Times Square. I think. So when the whole thing came from an open audition, and when I saw her, the actress Marissa that had been playing it, all my friends were like, "This is you have to go and audition." And it was then that I started to look into it and listen to the music as well. And so it was. I knew it was going to be a big deal. Yeah. But I was very green and very new. I was only 22. Yeah. And I remember the show opening and having an amazing time for a few months and doing lots of TV appearances. And then it was suddenly, talk of the Olivier Awards, and it was sort of like,
Yeah.
what? We would be considered. I just, a lot of things nobody'd really told me about them.
Yeah.
And definitely all the TV appearances as well. Like, that's a real slog when you've got your evening show but they were really exciting days.
And I suppose it is one of those things with the TV appearances, they're always going to want you because you are as good as the title role in that show. So there must have been a lot on your shoulders as well in that sense.
There was. And I had, it sounds so eggy, but I had, individual interviews as well. Like I did this morning, and Lorraine.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to talk to me. I guess being a newcomer, it was exciting. So I definitely crammed a lot into 2 years and learned so much. And
I was going to say on that side of things, because I'm the type of person, a Hollywood star could walk past me and I actually wouldn't be that bothered. Whereas if I saw someone from my favourite soap opera, I'd go really giddy. What was the most starstruck moment for you in terms of meeting someone or going on a show that you'd always wanted to?
Yeah, I was a massive fan of Lord of the Rings. I mean, I still am. I love it.
Oh.
And Sir Ian McKellen is obviously this wonderful, warm man that really does get involved in the theatre community.
Yeah.
But again, I was new. I didn't quite realise that. So the first time I met him, I was very, very starstruck and wanted to have my photo taken with him. And
I assume at the time you must have had a lot of sort of VIPs that would come to the show and things like that.
Yeah, but we didn't often get to see them or meet them, actually. I think now those moments happen and they're definitely more of a PR moment, whereas in 2007 that didn't feel... Like they never came backstage and we didn't do photos and meet and greets and things. I remember hearing that Chris Rock and his family were watching. Yeah. And the Hairspray curtain was some hair, like strong hair like that. So there was a tiny gap. So if you lay down, you could look through and see people that were sitting in the stalls. And I remember looking through at him, but I didn't ever actually meet them.
Yeah. Well, you made that point, actually, because I suppose the show was around kind of predating social media. I mean, I suppose Twitter was there slightly.
Facebook had just started because that summer, I remember the date we started rehearsals and everything, the 20th of August. I remember the night before I set up my first Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it really did feel like the beginning. And I think I had a very early iPhone at that point.
Yeah. Are you quite grateful that you appeared in that show, though, at a time that did predate social media? Because I suppose you look at a lot of the shows that would probably equate to that now, things like, Six and I suppose Wicked Still, that have those really dedicated fandoms who I'm sure have very strong opinions about everything. Yeah. Do you think that's quite a relief that actually you didn't have to deal with that?
100%. I feel like we had a little bit of that when that was all starting. Yeah. But... So there was the occasional Facebook private message. There was forums where you could write, like BroadwayWorld.com.
Oh yes.
And actually, I was an avid user of these forums.
Yeah.
I was obsessed, and especially when I'd heard Hairspray was coming and was coming back. Yeah. Because it was supposed to be coming 2 years before. I was writing and reading in there myself, being like, what are people saying about the casting of it? Yeah. And even when I knew I'd booked the job, I was still having a quick read. So, and we did have some issues at stage door with some people having their favourites and voicing to you very directly.
Well, I was going to say as well, without going too negative, but is there a lot, you are the leading lady in a show like that. And does that bring with it a lot of pressure where you would often feel like, well, I can't miss a show because, if I miss a show, I'm going to get criticised. And did that add another kind of layer to it, I suppose? Yeah,
definitely. And I did miss shows because I felt a lot of pressure at that time, being the lead part and being so young. And as I've said, it was an intense time because of all the extra stuff that we did.
Yeah. So obviously, again, that show and that part is, it's outlined for a performer who has a fuller figure, so to speak. But again, is that quite hard to maintain that? And I'm sure you've been asked this question before, but when you're in a show where you're on 8 shows a week, very dance heavy, you're featured in all the numbers, but at the same time, you're having to sort of maintain a certain weight. Yeah. Did that bring challenges in itself?
I think it got to a point where it was nearly a challenge, but I, for example, my weight definitely fluctuated, but within a
Yeah.
within an area that was fine, within some numbers that were fine. I remember probably about 6 months in, my costume started to be very baggy and clingy,
Yeah.
and it was very close to the point where they said, we're going to have to do something about this, maybe take them in, or
Yeah.
but then my weight plateaued, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were eating in, me and Ben Ellis,
Oh,
who probably like this
yes.
reference, and Adrian Hansel. The three
Yes.
of us, we were quite notorious really for going after Wagamamas.
Oh, I see. So,
I feel like, yeah, it was possibly every other day or something like that. We'd go to the...
well, you turned it. So,
We had, and it was often on the 2 show days, we were definitely in there.
yeah.
So I needed the energy.
Yeah.
And you do get into a bit of a funny eating thing. I feel like now I'm older, I'd be more responsible with it, but you do get into a funny pattern. So
Yeah.
I would get in and have a dinner
Yeah.
at like midnight, I suppose, or
Of
half
course.
11 midnight.
Yeah.
Whereas now probably would try not to do that. But yeah,
Yes.
I was definitely a roller coaster up and down, but
Yeah.
it was never...
What I thought was really interesting was I was watching back some interviews you did at the time, and when you were on BBC Breakfast, you were talking about, they asked you about reality TV, and they said, would you have gone for a show like Maria? And you said, oh, if I had been a slim leading lady actress, I would have gone for it.
Yeah.
And I did wonder, do you have a different perspective on things like that now, with the world changing in the way it has, and hopefully being a bit more inclusive?
Yeah.
If that opportunity came around now, would you have a different thought process in terms of putting yourself forward for it?
That is such a good question, because I
Thank you.
hadn't thought about it. And my gut feeling right now in the moment is, yes, I would actually go for it now.
Yeah.
And I have had some really amazing auditions recently for parts where I've thought, what? Why are they seeing me?
Yeah.
Because that's my school of thought is, oh no, I can only go for certain roles.
Well, I
So
thought,
things are changing.
and the way even you spoke about it, then you seemed very kind of accepting of it, but you just
Yeah.
sort of said, well, that's how the industry is, and we all just have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But it does show that, I mean, watching that interview, it did feel, hopefully, like we have come so far on. And I did wonder as well, going back to Hairspray, do you feel that, obviously the story that tells is one of, acceptance, and it's very empowering. Do you think that that kind of show was sort of light years ahead of its time as well, in terms of the message that it was trying to get across? Because I feel like a lot of shows have tried to put out similar messages since. But that's obviously, like I said, 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, hopefully it inspired a lot of those shows. I'm sure that it did. Yeah, I do think we were ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And so many, one of the beautiful things about playing that part is so many young girls and young guys actually as well say that to you, how inspiring it is. And, your part really speaks to me, and this is how I feel, and
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And that, they're the moments that you really hold on to and make you feel very emotional.
I spoke actually to Kim Ismay a couple of weeks ago, who obviously is probably best known for Mamma Mia, and we were talking about the sort of collective of female performers that have done that show, a lot of whom are very well known in the industry, and she said, there's very much a kind of Mamma Mia bond that even if you haven't been in the show together, we all know each other, we all get on. Is there a similar thing with other girls that have played Tracy?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I make a point of, there's so many now, but I mean, reaching out to people on Broadway or on the American tour or Australia or wherever they are.
Yeah.
I try to
Yeah.
make contact and be like, hi.
Yeah.
But when there was less of us, we definitely had a little group.
Yeah.
There was 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
Chloe Hart and Lizzie
Of
B.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some American ones were Marissa Perry. I was speaking to her
Yes.
at the time, and when I was playing Tracy on in the West End, she was
Manifesting. One day.
no, darling, way too old now. But she was playing Tracy on Broadway, and I went to watch her.
Yeah.
So it was like, there is a special bond, definitely.
Yeah. I asked actually, I guess, Oscar Conor-Murray 2 weeks ago this question, because I always feel like if it were me, I'd feel very possessive about the part and think, I almost can't watch anyone else do it. Do you ever have that feeling, or
No.
is it just as exciting watching someone else kind of inhabit that role?
No, and definitely now more time has passed. I definitely want to celebrate those women and the part.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of actors have very different processes as well when they're learning a part.
Yeah.
I've always been somebody that wants to watch all the footage of other people
Yeah.
and read everything I can and watch a movie and fully see different characters from all angles. But I know there are lots of actors that don't like to do that. They like to just completely just read the text and give their own stamp on it. So I feel like that's the same. It's the same thing. It's just different people's process and yeah.
And again, going into it, you mentioned you were only 22.
Yeah.
Really young to be taking on such a big role. And again, being surrounded by a lot of kind of industry heavyweights as you were, did you feel a responsibility to kind of mature quite quickly, and that feeling of, everyone here is, well, either looking up to me or I have to be on the same level as these, kind of industry veterans as well. So did you almost feel a bit like, I can't sort of muck around here, I have to kind of be...
Yes, but what I would say is that I wasn't the one that was mucking around.
It was
the industry heavyweights that were the ones that were like, this is fun. This is what we can do. Come and play.
Yeah.
I just come from drama school, so I felt like I was very like, oh no, we mustn't do that. I'm just, we're professionals.
An actress.
Yeah. I would say that I felt both things, in that I felt very new and very green, but I'd also been to drama school for 3 years, and I'd had 18 months out of drama school. I feel like when I first got the part, they tried to present it like I was completely brand new, and I had done a couple of jobs. So I also felt like, no, I'm a real actress, and I've done this. And but again, when I look back, I was so green and so young. Yeah. And shouldering a lot.
Yeah. And we mentioned, obviously, Michael Ball was your mother.
Yes.
I mean, sum up that experience of working with him, because, I suppose you really were surrounded by the best of the best in that sense.
Yeah.
And that must have been such a comfort in many ways.
Yeah, total comfort. And he really did become, like a parent or like a guardian at that time.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met him, because it was the photo shoot.
Yeah.
And I'd heard he'd been cast, obviously. And I'm a massive fan of Les Mis. Still to this day, it's my favourite.
Oh, yes.
Number one. And I'd watched the video of the Les Miserables 10th anniversary concert over and over and over. And I said this to him when I first met him. And he basically was like, oh, brilliant. So that means, I was 25 when I filmed that, or or how old he was.
Yeah.
And I'd gone in saying, when I was 11, I loved watching you in Les Mis. So it was just one of those moments where now I feel that as an older actor.
Yeah.
People say to me like, oh, I came to see you when I was 8 years old in Hairspray.
Yeah.
I think, oh gosh, it was a long time.
I mean, because he clearly became quite sort of intoxicated by doing that role as well, because he stayed in that show again quite a long time, longer than he would normally do a role for as well. Yeah. So there must have been quite a strong bond with all of you.
Yeah. I think I've heard Michael say in interviews it's one of his favourite roles he's ever played, right? It means a lot to him.
Yeah.
And obviously he brought it back to the London Coliseum as well.
Yes.
So, I think it's a very special... And I was recently messaging with Tracy Bennett, because I went to see Here We Are.
Oh, yes.
And couldn't say hi after, but we were messaging on Instagram, and even Tracy was saying how special that time is to her, and how she has such wonderful memories of Hairspray, and how we all have a bond and a friendship that we live through something together, and you can't take that away. So
I mean, and you were, everyone who was in that show with you, really, they've all stayed really kind of active in the industry. So it surely feels like maybe there'd be an opportunity that you could all come together at some point and do it again. Or...
Well, it's coming up to 20 years.
Well, it is 2027.
And we have seen these revival concert versions of shows. So,
yes.
I would be up for a concert version of Hairspray.
You heard it here first.
Anyone wants to produce it?
Exactly. DM. But and you talked about as well, the role of Tracy, and I heard you say somewhere, as soon as you kind of picked up that script, you knew who she was. I think you were saying going into the read-through, you were just excited for it, because you were like, I know exactly what I'm going to do here.
I couldn't wait.
Do you think there are similarities between you and that part? Yeah,
and definitely at the time, I was desperate. I remember singing Good Morning Baltimore in the auditions and just singing it to the panel like, I want this. I know all the dances. I know all the words. And, pleading really through my eyes. And I felt so I'd come from a really loving, warm, supportive family as well.
Yeah.
and Jack O'Brien the director will always say that about Tracy, that the reason she's so confident and wants to change the world is because she has this really solid support network behind her.
Yeah.
Like, she just knows who she is.
Yeah.
I know that the mum has the weight thing and agoraphobia.
Yeah.
But the loving parents.
Yeah.
And that just really resonated with me. And I think that's why I am a very confident young lady, because I come from a really supportive family.
And, you know, like you were saying, it was 2 years of your life, a very intense 2 years, I'm sure. What was the feeling like when you did sort of walk away from it? Was it a difficult decision to do that, but also was it quite a big transition after that, when you suddenly go from, you know, being in a big show, 8 shows a week, and then suddenly you're back out there auditioning again?
Yeah, I would say so. When I chose to leave, actually, because I was exhausted.
Of course.
And felt ready. I missed it terribly when I first left, and the last show was really tricky.
Of course.
And I thought to myself, hopefully I'll be doing this again. It's not completely a goodbye. And now I can actually look back and think, I haven't ever done that again and played Tracy again. So I really do miss it, and it was magical and very, very special.
Yeah.
Directly after Hairspray, I would be really honest and say that it was a bit of a slump and a bit of it was a very quiet period. And why am I suddenly not booking loads of things and you know, booking TV jobs and I'm still not really sure why and what happened, but I was 24 and by 28 had my first baby.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like I had a couple of years. I did do some acting jobs, but nothing that was as long or as big as Hairspray.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted to be a mum, and I feel like I did have children young, but that's because I was ready, and I felt that time in my life there was that gap to have children.
Yeah.
However, when I had my first baby, I did a job within that first year.
Wow.
And I have done 1 or 2 projects every year since, really. So I feel very lucky that I was able, and I think that's because of the Hairspray touch almost.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, it must be a bit of a double-edged sword, because I was going to ask your thoughts about this, because you often find when people have had long-running TV jobs, say, you know, they talk about typecasting.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an element of that in the theatre industry where when you're so known for a role, that it is then more difficult to move on, again, for you, but also in the minds of others?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, especially for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a cooling off period, maybe.
Yeah.
But now I'm 40 now, and I feel, when I was 30, I didn't feel too old to play Tracy again. I was thinking, I could still do it, you know, a little bit makeup. And whereas now I really do feel like, you know, my children are 10 and 12 now. So I'm going to be a mum to teenagers quite soon. And I feel in a different era as a woman now.
Yeah.
And
well, who knows, if there's ever a Hairspray 2 or something, a sequel to the movie, then maybe,
What, Tracy, when Tracy's grown up?
Well, exactly.
Oh
Again,
gosh,
that's an idea to put out there.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I also would love to do the female authority figure. I think she's quite a fun part in Hairspray as well, because it's a cameo thing, isn't it?
I always say that is one of the prime examples of a role that is essentially featured ensemble.
Yeah.
That kind of steals a lot of that show.
Yeah, you can really take it and run with it.
And I can't remember who played it in yours, but I do remember that part really standing out.
Yeah.
Just because...
It was Wendy Somerville.
Oh, right.
Who's
And
the most amazing character actress.
The comic timing was just impeccable.
Yeah.
So we're just going to break it up a little bit. I'm just going to ask you a couple of quick fire questions.
Okay, cool.
So just the first thing that comes to your head. Watching a show or being in a show?
Being in a show.
Fair enough. I think we all feel that way. Protagonist or antagonist?
Can you remind me what those were?
Essentially,
the goodie or the baddie?
The goodie or the baddie, really, yes. Yeah.
Now I'm older, I would say the baddie.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. M&S strawberries and cream sandwich, yes or no?
Well, I haven't had it, but I think it sounds divine.
I agree. I should have got one for today.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're ever up for sponsorship or something. Pre-show ritual or just get on with it?
I don't know the answer. I think, it's supposed to be quick fire, isn't it?
Oh, well, no, you can share your thoughts.
I've done a bit of both over the years,
fine.
and it depends on the company you're with.
Yeah.
And how stressed you're feeling for the role you're about to do. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Bit
Mostly
of both.
get on with it, I think, mostly.
Harvey Fierstein or John Travolta? Sorry, I didn't put Michael Ball in there deliberately because I thought that was
Of course.
awful, but I thought,
Well, I love Harvey Fierstein, and he's just got the Lifetime Achievement Award with the Tonys, right? And his speech, if you haven't seen it, oh my gosh, it's so moving and so beautiful. So I'd have to go with Harvey.
Fair enough. I'm sorry, John, because John will be watching this, but
Hi, John.
Without Love or Welcome to the 60s?
Without Love.
Yes, I did hear you say that was your favourite.
Yeah.
So
that was the only song where we were allowed to riff and relax a little bit. Yeah.
Having to say no or being told no?
Having to say no. I'd rather have to say no.
Fair enough.
Sorry,
being in
it took me a while.
control.
Yeah.
One night only or a 2-year residency?
2-year residency.
Fair enough.
I think of the
Well, yeah, exactly.
pennies.
It's all about the money. Running your life or having your life run for you?
having my life run for me.
Oh, nice. I think in a perfect world, I would just have a PA that did everything for me.
Yeah.
Quick decision maker or procrastinator?
Quick decision maker.
Fair enough. We talked about having to say no or being told no. And when I interviewed Kerry Ellis for this, I was asking her about disappointment, and she actually talked and how she sort of channels disappointment. And she said, well, it's something that still regularly happens, even though, I'm out there and seen as successful. Mm-hmm. And she said in some ways she was very grateful that she experienced disappointment on a very public platform when she auditioned for The Voice and didn't get a chair turn. Mm-hmm. And obviously you put yourself in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask how you felt about that at the time. Did you feel again because I know it was a couple of years after you had done Hairspray and things like that, but you were still obviously, known to a lot of people for that role. And how did you feel kind of off the back of that?
Well, what I would say is Kerry's story with the season 1 really inspired me actually too, because I think I was on season 2.
Yeah.
So I'd just watched her have a no chair turn and be like, obviously like the rest of us, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
This is mental. So I don't know if it's different now, but I was approached to audition for The Voice.
Yeah.
And I just had my first child, so I thought to myself, well, why not? Be like actually just a really nice day out and a bit of fun.
Would you ever put yourself in a situation like that again, doing a show like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I guess Britain's Got Talent is still massive, isn't it? But
yes.
I don't know if there's going to be a new format or something. But yeah, I totally would go and sing on the TV again and audition for.
Yeah, I still feel, not that you would put yourself in one of those sort of shows, but I do feel like TV does really miss the casting shows, which felt like they were really big at the time when, when Hairspray was up.
They were massive.
Then came from that, and I feel like there's still a massive gap in. Even for a show like Joseph, you could easily bring that back again and do a show like that 20 years down the line.
Totally. So. I feel like it's about time we had another one of those.
Yes.
So.
We're making a lot of things happen today.
We are.
Hairspray 20th anniversary, Any Dream Will Do Series 2. There we go. You've mentioned several times that you are a mother now, and a very proud mother, I'm sure. As someone who has been in the business that we call show for, over 2 decades, would you ever want your kids to follow in your footsteps and do something similar?
I think they're both very musical. And I want them to do something creative, definitely, if it's not a career, as their hobby, because I think it's so beneficial to your mental health, to your education at school as well. And I'm thrilled that they're both musical. They're not particularly, at the moment anyway, sort of look at me and wanting to be on the stage.
Yeah.
But they're showing so much interest in production and being musicians, and they can both sing. Number one, I think all parents would say this, just want them to be happy.
Yeah.
And the industry is evolving all the time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be devastated if they wanted to, but I would be encouraging them definitely, like my dad encouraged me to finish their studies and get qualifications so that you do have other
Yes.
options.
Yeah. Or just come to City Academy and do it at the weekends. There we go. There's your
Perfect.
plug for you. And how does being a mum as well, how does it change your perspective in terms of the industry generally and the jobs that you're willing to accept? Because do you ever have situations where you think, well, I wouldn't want to be, I don't know, away from them for that period of time or...
Yeah. I've still gone up for roles that would take me away from them. And I have done jobs which were sort of like 3 or 4 months long. We've used au pairs in our family, which works really, really well. Works well in our home as well because we have the au pair would have their own space. And I appreciate that in other setups it might not work as well. But I would really, advocate that system. I haven't yet booked anything where I'd go away for 18 months. So I feel I would first be finding out if there was a job share, if that would be possible. I think that there is a big discussion happening now.
I was going to say there's a lot of conversation about that, isn't it? What is your opinion on that? Do you think that is something that would absolutely work?
Yeah, 100%. I understand that it adds a little bit more logistically, probably for rehearsals. Maybe you're going to have to pay 2 actresses to learn to be in rehearsals. But I think once the show is up and running, then I don't see why.
Do you think it will ease the burden as well, just in terms of, again, the pressure on performers? Because doing 8 shows a week is really tough. And I'm sure, a lot of people talk about, well, even if it was down to 6 or what have you, it would be, and I know some roles they do that. But do you think in that sense as well, it would make things, it would make it easier to keep the performance fresher and, keep your energy levels. And
definitely people's vocal health, people's mental health. I mean, lots of these big roles now, like we're saying, should be maybe split a bit more 50-50. I know that a lot of them you can have take 2 matinees off and things like that. But I think any movement like that is going to only enhance.
And you obviously teach a lot now. And again, when I had Oscar on the show, he was talking about how he gets just as much of a buzz out of teaching than he does performing. And he said, well, maybe I would see myself going into that full time at some point. Is it the same for you? Do you get a real sort of sense of...
I do definitely get so much joy. And I love... I've got some students that I've known them for a good 5 years. And just knowing them now and seeing their development, that is so rewarding and special. And I do really enjoy teaching, especially... acting through song and working with text and working on somebody's confidence and how to just present themselves. They're all the things I really love doing. However, I do, when I haven't performed for sort of 6 months, 8 months, then I start to get a bit of an itch. And so I know I'm not ready yet to teach full time. I need to still be doing a little bit of performing myself. But it's just the perfect thing to run alongside being a performer, really. And you've obviously, I mentioned in the intro, you've done TV work and done dramas and things like that. Something I thought was really interesting was Marissa, who obviously originated the role of Tracy on Broadway, for a while did The Talk, which is sort of like our version of Loose Women a little bit. Would something like that ever appeal? Yes, I would love to do something like that.
I could very much picture you in that sort of environment.
Thank you. I did do a little bit of, after Hairspray on This Morning, it's 2 or 3 times where there'd be something that they were discussing, like a...
like a debate.
Like a debate, exactly. And I prepped quite a few different conversations to have. I'm not sure if I even went actually to do one, but I felt like I was getting in there with that zone, and I would love to do anything like that.
More to come, who knows?
Who knows?
And did doing TV work as well, in terms of acting roles, did that give you a bit of a taste for doing more of that side of things? Yes,
and they are, especially when you've got young children, now I do feel, I keep saying this, but now I do feel like I feel ready to handle a longer contract. But the TV jobs are so perfect for fitting in with the family, because there's often less commitment and less...
Well, I asked this question a lot, actually, because obviously Jodie Prenger went into Coronation Street and Harriet Thorpe does EastEnders now. And it does feel like there's been a bit more of a sort of surge in, using traditionally musical theatre actresses for roles. And would something like that ever appeal?
Yes, definitely. And I see now a lot of the big musical movies.
Yeah.
Obviously Wicked.
Yeah. Yes.
But lots of others as well. The Disney ones. They're all made in
Yeah.
England, aren't they? And we see so many, I'm sure, of people that we know when we're watching the big crowd numbers and everything. So I feel like it is cool to be using West End actors in TV and film.
And an interesting, I noticed there was an interview you gave recently on a red carpet somewhere where they talked about what advice would you give people who are starting out. And you said, I think it's important to be a yes person early on. At what point in your career do you think it's fine to make the transition to where, you know, you still say yes to things, but you don't become taken advantage of, and it's all right to use your voice and say no when you need to?
Yeah, it's hard because I think if I was in a big contract again, where I do need to be, and you know, I have lots of respect for a lot of my peers at the moment who are in big contracts and have to really look after themselves. So I think if you're in that sort of situation, then you maybe should say no if you think something's going to be too much. But obviously there are some situations which might be dangerous as well for young performers. So that's why I think in that same interview I said, obviously within reason, like, you know, look after yourself. But I do, you know, with all my students, I do say, you know, if an opportunity comes along and you think, the venue's too small, or they want me to sing a certain song and I don't want to sing that, and so I'm not going to do it. I feel like those sort of, they're the sort of situations that I'm saying, no, go and do it, because you never know who you're going to meet, and
of course, and
also you're singing, you're performing, and you know, I've had to really across the couple of decades turn my hand to lots of different things, and perform in lots of different styles and pieces, you know, whether that's somebody's garden locally or the Royal Albert Hall. It's got to do a little bit of everything, I think. It's healthy.
But you can always say you're an Olivier Award winner, so there we go.
Well, exactly.
Well, I feel like speaking to you, you know, it's only just scratching the surface, but there is just so much more I can ask you about. But I'm so grateful to you for coming in. You know, you created a role on the West End that, you know, people are still talking about it and still celebrating that performance all these years on, which is testament to what an amazing performance it was, and the fact that you were invited back to West End Live a couple of years ago to do a Hairspray number and all of that. Like I say, I'm just so grateful that you've come in and spoken about it and reflected on it today, and we will keep all of our fingers crossed for Hairspray 20.
Yay!
So I very much hope that happens.
Great title as well.
Exactly. We want credit for that if that happened. But thank you so much, Leanne. It has been brilliant, and best of luck with everything.
My pleasure. Thank you.